Hello, Brooke. Today I want to talk to you about adrenal exhaustion. I want to ask you, how does adrenal exhaustion present itself, and what are some tools you can give us to tackle it?
So, great question. With adrenal exhaustion, if you ever felt like you had just straight up exhaustion, body aches, digestion problems, I know, I'm a Jewish white girl and we have digestion problems. However, I've had many of them. So if you've had and are struggling with that, you may be dealing with some adrenal issues. So if you feel tired all day, even after getting a good night's sleep, it could be a sign that your stress is more than what your adrenal glands can handle. So, how many times have you just had like such a good night's sleep, but it's weird. You're like, I should have more energy, but I just don't. So stress is the number one cause of adrenal overload, and it's the most common symptom, but most overlooked in our health problems today. And we know that stress can cause a lot of health issues, long-term and short-term. But adrenaline, just in general, is the fight or flight response in the body's automatic life-preserving response to stress. So when you're in a sense of danger, your brain's hypothalamus sends a nerve signal to the adrenals, which immediately releases a sign of a surge of adrenaline. So adrenaline kicks in, heart beats faster, breathing and blood pressure increases. All of these things happen. The pupils dilate. The pattern of adaptation allows for survival in the short term. But what happens in the long term when stress continues to happen? ADHDers are constantly in a state of survival with that fight or flight syndrome. We have fight, flight, fib, because we're constantly on alert. And so we can have that adrenal exhaustion very often because of that stress response. So some of the things that are recommended to do to eliminate some of the stress, which then can eliminate the adrenal overload, so you're not as tired all the time, or you're not feeling those aches, is to eliminate any smoking, alcohol consumption that can cause more stress, eliminating or just monitoring your sugar and caffeine intake. Sometimes the caffeine can increase your stress and anxiety. Taking deep breaths, meditating, praying, moderate intensity aerobic exercise, practicing what you're grateful for, laughing more. So straight up, maybe you need to watch a comedy or surround yourself around people that lift you up.
Yes.
Support gut health, probiotics, vitamin D, omega-3, all the things that are so good for ADHD to begin with, vitamin C. So yes, if we are able to decrease our stress and not have as much adrenal overload, these tips can also help improve our energy, our cognition, and our overall well-being, which can help us with that cognitive overload that we talked about in our last episode.
You state so many important tools: multivitamins, sleep, staying away from smoking, alcohol. When you do experience how adrenal exhaustion presents itself, right? Decreased ability to withstand stress, waking up and feeling very, foggy and just difficulty concentrating and just craving all these sweets and sugary foods and kind of not staying in control, right? So I want to state a few tools that I think help me, and I think can help many people kind of eliminating these adrenal exhaustion symptoms, right? I brought up yoga last episode. I think yoga is awesome for mobility, stability, concentration. It's a very meditative form of exercise that stretches your body and brings blood to places that it should be. Breathing is a very big part of yoga too. Using that diaphragm to breathe, which activates that nervous system in your gut and stops using your accessory muscles, which is a lot of force that you don't want to be using. Drinking water. I have this 64-ounce bottle of water I carry around everywhere with me, and I'm having at least 2 or 3 of them a day. Um, Hydration is so important. Flushing those toxins out of your body, it's so important. It helps you feel better, moisturizes your body, and it keeps your blood pressure and just metabolics at a good level every day. And another thing I want to bring up that Andrew Huberman talks about a lot. Andrew Huberman,
Our favorite.
yeah, he's awesome. He's a neuroscientist and ophthalmologist in Stanford, and he has a podcast called Andrew Huberman.
The
You can
Huberman Lab.
I
Yeah.
think exactly that's what it's called, and it's awesome. I listen to it all the time, and he talks a lot about sunlight exposure, and he
Mm.
says he
Vitamin
brings this up.
D.
It's very important, right? And even getting that sunlight through your eyes and on your skin, viewing sunlight in the morning causes a 50% increase in circulating cortisol, epinephrine, dopamine. And I'm letting you guys know what Andrew Huberman stated, based off peer-reviewed work. These obviously what I stated, cortisol, epinephrine, and dopamine, they leverage healthy increases in energy in your immune system function and in your mood.
Yes. And when you're stressed, you over the long term increase your cortisol levels, which then has those negative reactions on your body. So I love that you're mentioning the Andrew Huberman study where go outside and it decreases your cortisol levels.
Yes. Now he brings up sunlight exposure so much. He even has a whole podcast just on light in general. Sleep is huge too. To have better sleep is so important. And some ways to have better sleep is don't have caffeine too late in the day. Don't nap for too long, which will affect your sleep later when you do want to go to sleep at night. And don't eat before sleeping, at least like 2 hours before. So Andrew talks about this a lot. And I've been doing this stuff and it helps me significantly. If I have a big meal or anything before I go to sleep, I'm waking up the next morning so foggy. Reason being is because digestion consumes a lot of energy. And you want that energy during sleep to be used in other areas for your brain, for your heart, for the rest of your body, right? And it's just a moment of rest. So to not, wake up foggy, don't eat before going to sleep. Kind of give yourself that break and really focus on sleep because it's so important. We spend most of our lives sleeping. We spend most of our lives sleeping when you really look at it. Not most of it, but
no, we do. We do.
most of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is most of our life sleeping.
So it's super, super important. And you also, Brooke, you bring up something else, surroundings. Surroundings are so key. The people you surround yourself by and the setting you are in. It's really important to have people around you who help you grow, giving you the space to grow and the support you need and the listening you need to grow. And especially having nice people around you, people who are positive and can put a smile on your face.
Yes.
You were talking about laughing and going to comedy shows. It's good to have a friend who's basically a comedian, right? Who's making you laughing all the time, right? It's super important. Yes.
And that and even the things that we watch on TV, like I love good murder mystery and drama, but that can stress me out. Like I started watching 13 Lives the other day on Netflix, and my husband and I were like on the edge of our seat. We couldn't handle it. It was so stressful. So, I mean, that stress over a while can increase your cortisol levels and lead to adrenaline overload. So you going back to the toxic people, like if you surround yourself with toxic people, it's almost like the same thing as, introducing toxins into your body, the alcohol, the cigarette smoking. So trying to release as much toxins and toxic people from you and setting those boundaries to be around better people and making better decisions.
100%. Laughing is one of the best forms of therapy for sure. And
medicine for sure. Yeah.
Medicine, right? Exactly. So that stuff's super important. Surroundings, people around you, just people who want to do good and people who want to stay happy and make others happy around them. So it's super, super important.